We got our sponsors, AlphaBroder, Stalls, and Reese. Los Angeles Apparel's been a steady supporter, as have Hirsch and Fairweather Johnson. And I'm Rick Roth from the Ink Kitchen, and I have with me my friend Latona Roberson, who has a screen printing shop in Dallas and does consulting and training. She's known as the Lady Print Boss, right?
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, we're going to talk a little bit about what does it take to start a business in decorating. What kind of things do people have to think about if they're thinking about going into it, or if they just started, things that they may not have thought of?
Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to figure out if it's really for you and do your research. And by do your research, I mean things like figure out what's the best process for you, how that process works, how much money it's going to cost you to invest in it, and get a business plan and a marketing plan.
Business plan. I got to go to business school to do that, right?
No. Not now. We got ChatGPT, y'all. We got ChatGPT. Everybody should have a business plan. We on that AI team over here.
And you got to be rich to start a business, right?
Not an apparel business. I
You gotta have
started
and you got to have 30 years of experience doing it before you start, right?
No, not necessarily. I mean, you could start with, a lot of people get in, depending on where you are, what level you want to get started in. You can jump in and you can do all types of digital printing now, because we have all these different transfers, screen print transfers, DTF transfers. You really don't even have to have a machine. But me, I'm an in-house printer, so I believe in having equipment, y'all. But, you can get started for as little bit as you want to or as much as you want to. I'll tell you, if you're going to jump in and that's how you really want to get in there and make your money, then I believe screen printing is still the way to go.
But in effect, really, you can start a business with even a few $100s, right? With a transfer machine, you can do business, right?
Yeah, you could get a heat press and get a heat press for a couple $100. Now I would recommend at least starting with a 15 by 15. Try to buy something, try to overbuy if you can, but if you can't, then, equipment is equipment, and you can get a cheaper heat press. You might have some hot spots or cold spots, not hot spots, cold spots. And you can start with the heat press, start with some vinyl, start with transfers, and you're basically in business. You just got to go out there and hustle up those customers.
All right, hustle up the customers. So I think that was kind of your message of when we talked before. What about hustling up customers? Is that important or not?
Oh, without customers, you don't have a business. You got to come up with something that...
I was handing you that one.
Yeah, you gotta, I tell people, when you are getting into business, the first thing you got to do is you got to make sure that you have a product, one, that's going to sell, right? Because if you have a product that nobody's interested in, it doesn't matter what type of marketing you do or anything like that, it's just not going to sell. So that's when I go back to the research. When I say do your research, make sure that you have something that's going to sell. If you're doing your own brand. But if you're screen printing and you're printing for people, then you just need to get out there and find customers. And my thing is email marketing, Google ads. I think that social media is the new Google, because Google ain't been working for me lately.
It's a shifting thing, right? It's not always the same.
Yeah, it's competition is tough, and the algorithm is changing, so it's I'm going back to, I'm old school. I believe in picking up the phone and calling folks.
The phone, what a novel idea, huh? Talk to people.
Yeah.
Maybe go out and meet them in person once in a while.
Yeah, it makes it personal. I'd rather if we kind of have a conversation and you talk to me and we vibe, then I'm gonna get your money.
I'm moving my wallet to my other pocket here.
That lady's got on a crafty boss. That's my design.
Oh, yeah. All right, so when people run into trouble, what are they not anticipating? You know, like, because I know you work with a lot of people that have just got into the business of decorating. So what do you hear, like, more than once of an issue that they didn't really think through?
Well, you know, sometimes they don't understand the learning curve, but more than that, it's people get equipment and they don't know how to get customers. You go out, you buy a bunch of equipment, and then you're kind of stuck, and people don't, unless people find a show like Impressions or find somebody to kind of train them, you know, they go to YouTube University, and then sometimes I'm on YouTube, okay, but sometimes YouTube is, you can't learn everything there because you're listening to so many different people, you get confused.
Yeah, it seems like you maybe feel like you're good because you got the money together to get the equipment, but that's not the end of it, is it?
Oh, no. That's not the end of it. I believe that everybody you should have some type of budget for advertising, unless you're going to do it yourself. And you can, you know, there are people that, I'm old school, I don't do the TikTok and the Instagram much, but you got women and guys out here that are killing it on social media. You know, if you good on the camera, then you can build your social media up, but you have to have some type of call of action. So, and what I mean by that is you use your social media as a lead magnet. So you have some type of button in there, some in your bio, you know, you're doing your little TikToks and you're going down, you're doing, you know.
You know, it's funny though, but if you don't budget money, you've got to budget time. I mean, if you're busy printing shirts all day, you can't be, you know, also on social media. So somehow you got to figure out a way to both get the work and get more work. Otherwise, it seems like people go up and down. They get busy with work, they don't look for any more, then all of a sudden they're looking and they don't have any work.
Yeah.
And then they go crazy trying to get some customers, and then they go up and down. Somehow you got to budget, if not money for advertising, your time, right?
Yeah, and sometimes your time is, you'd rather spend that money versus spending your time. But again, with ChatGPT, you could do a whole 30-day content calendar, just like that, y'all. I mean, you just tell it, hey, I need to do boom, boom, boom. It tells you all the actions you need to do. You just got to know the triggers. But again, that takes time.
So what other problems do you see people have when it seems like I know some people don't put the money away for taxes they got to pay, and I don't know what kind of planning is required to make sure that it goes smoothly.
Well, you want to be able to, because money doesn't come all the time, especially when you're getting started. So you may have slow months, you may have months that you're busy and things are going good, but during those slow months, you have to be able to budget. You need to have some type of expense cost calculator so that you know exactly what your daily budget, what your daily sales is, your daily operational costs. And you need to do some type of financial planning. You know, now I have a t-shirt calculator that has an Excel spreadsheet in it, and it helps to budget all of that stuff so that you know at the end of the year, you just take it and just take it to your account. But a lot of people get in trouble because they don't budget for taxes. You're spending the money. You should have a separate bank account for your business, and also have a savings account, and then as you start growing the business, invest in other avenues of business and get your 4-5 bank accounts and 4-5 different accounts. Buy a little land.
Put your taxes aside, though. That's a big one. I think of all, when I talk to successful people about their early days when they had a hard time, that is quite often the biggest mistake that they made. Yeah. Like they just desperately grabbed into it. It's not a good place to borrow your money, is it?
No, it's not. You got to have an expense fund. So a lot of times people don't really put back for that. Not only that, sometimes you can have, I'll tell you what happened to me. I had a client that ordered some shirts. It was a scam. I had to pay that money back. If I didn't have $1,200 to pay back, I'd be, kind of in a messed up situation. So a lot of times you have to put money back for things like that. You have to put money back for damaged goods in case you have to replace an order. Equipment does break down from time to time, so you may have a dryer and you may have a element that goes out that you have to replace. So you have to really manage that money.
People buy the right equipment usually, in your experience, or like people overbuy or get in too deep before they know what they're doing, or how's that go? Do you think on the whole of the people that you work with that are starting out?
Most of the people that I'm start out working with me, they've totally bought the wrong equipment. Just because now we're living in a social media age, and so it's kind of like you see one person do something, so it's you go buy this, buy that, and they haven't really done their research. But
without naming any names of your people you work with or names of equipment, can you think of a couple of mistakes people have made just to illustrate that?
Well, everybody wants to print a black shirt, right? So, and you need to be able to print a black shirt with more than one color. And so sometimes people buy, let's say, for example, you buy a heat press and the only thing that you can do is you can do sublimation, and you may need to do sublimation on dark shirts. You got different ways, but depending on who your client is, they may not want what I call indirect sublimation, right? If they're looking for screen printing, I know that a lot of people say that people don't care about how it's printed, but I still have my customers that want certain things. So I think as you grow your business, you have to expand your process.
I just thought of one while you were talking. I've heard of a lot of people also buy equipment without thinking about, like, they buy a dryer and they don't realize that their wiring won't handle it or something like that. They don't realize all the costs of installation.
Yeah.
How much it might cost to ship it to them, and how much you're going to have to pay an electrician or something like that, right?
Oh, most definitely. Especially people who are working from home, or maybe you go and you buy I had a lady that went and bought a 3-phase dryer and, she couldn't use it, things like that. But you do have to take into account that you're going to have to put in, spend money on electrical costs. And sometimes people that get started with screen printing, some people don't even know that they need a dryer. And then
I've seen that.
Yeah.
We used to sell screens to a guy who used to use his kitchen oven. I
Yeah.
don't think that was a very good way.
Yeah,
but
and so there are a lot of different things that people don't realize that they need. When I think that every shop should have a heat press. At some point, even if I'm more into like vinyl for names and numbers, but you should have a heat press. If you're doing screen printing, then you should have a conveyor dryer.
I think that the other is that you have to maintain your equipment. Maybe people don't realize that it's not going to work perfectly forever.
Yeah, most definitely.
I think a good investment is those little heat tapes for your heat press. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You want to explain what that is for people to know if their heat press is working right?
Okay, yeah, so what he's talking about is sometimes you can buy a heat press and you'll have what's called cold spots. So for example, we press something and it may not adhere properly in one area. If you have this little heat tape, and I can't think of what it's called either, the little strip, then it'll let you know that your heat press is heating to the right temperature. I take a temp gun? I just use my temp gun because I have a conveyor dryer, and I'll just put it up underneath the heat press and hit it in different spots and see if it has cold spots. You're going to find those in the cheaper heat presses. And, for example, I'm not going to call any names, but I've worked with one cheap heat press that's off of Amazon that's an automatic. And that particular heat press, I see a lot of people promoting it, but that particular heat press is for doing things like sublimation. It doesn't need a lot of pressure. If you try to do a screen print transfer with it, it's not going to work. So you have to know, like the heat press that you buy, what type of products are you going to be printing? If it doesn't have pressure control, you may not want to buy it.
Yeah, I think whatever you buy, you're going to have to find out how to get parts for it before you buy it. how do you fix it, make sure there's some instructions that go with it. And then if you buy like a little conveyor dryer like you see over there or something like that, check out, they usually have a specifics. Does it fit through the door where you want it? Will it fit down in your basement, or will it fit through the garage or your door, or what have you? And then
do you need a 220?
Yeah, what's the electrical requirements or the air requirements or what have you, and you want to check all that out before you buy it. Look before you leap on that one.
Yeah, look before you leap. I agree.
All right, should we go to questions or anything else you want to say about business starting?
Yeah, if you're getting started in business, you should come and take a class. Y'all got any questions?
All right, you want to ask your question again? Actually, that was a good question. Yeah, ask the same question. That was good. That was a good one.
Thank you.
Say where you're from, too, because I think that's cool.
Well, hello. I am Jamie Polk, and I'm here with my colleagues Jacqueline Winfro and Jorian Thomas, and we are entrepreneurship teachers at Dallas ISD Career Institute, where our students pick up different trades, such as plumbing, aviation, help me out, health science, cybersecurity. So it's kind of like the new trade school
Screen
for
printing,
Dallas.
embroidery in the future.
Yes, and inside of our school we have what's called a fab lab that has embroidery machines and all these other wonderful machines that are here today. And so we're teaching our kids how to use those machines and also how to build businesses with those and how to make prototypes for their businesses. Okay. So my question to you is, what type of advice would you give for young and budding entrepreneurs?
Thinking about a younger me.
Thinking about what?
A younger me.
A younger you?
Getting into the apparel, I'm going to talk about getting into the apparel industry, right? Thinking about my younger self, because I was told I needed to go to medical school because my brother, he went to medical school. I wanted to be a fashion designer, right? And I think that this industry just doesn't, I don't think that people realize the amount of money that you can make, the wealth, how you can grow, a business from scratch. So as a younger person, I would tell them to just go for it. Go for it, enjoy the ride, do it as fast as you can, sometimes I think, man, if I was 10 years younger, then I would be out there really, getting at it. But a younger person, I would tell them, find someone to mentor you and to go for it, because it's lucrative.
That's a good one, I think. I think that, it's really what motivated me to do In Kitchen, mentoring. People helped me when I started, and I think that a lot of older folks, me, not her, old people like me, want to actually help, and I think people are afraid to approach us. And then the other is to turn what might seem like a liability into an asset, which is that youthful energy and that new vision of things is an asset. You can look at things differently. You don't have to do things the way other people did them necessarily. You might find a new way. Don't be stubborn and think that every idea you have is good. But yeah. I think that youthful energy and that inspiration can be a great asset in starting a business, because it's a slog, and without that energy and enthusiasm, you're not going to get through it.
Yeah, most definitely. See those two boys over there? Those are my kids, raised in the print shop. That one right there with the long hair, he started this business.
Oh, wow.
10 years old. Said, Mom, you should be printing T-shirts.
Wow. Wow.
And that's what we did.
Wow.
Entrepreneurship by force. I don't know about that one. It has its merits, but it's not legal in every state, I don't think. As much as the governor of Florida would like that to be the case, I don't think we're going there. Other questions or comments?
Yes. I have a question for you. How were you able to sustain during COVID? How did that impact your business? Did it make it stronger? Did it? impact you in a way that you had to kind of change your marketing strategy? How did COVID affect your business?
Okay,
All right, so the question is, I'll repeat it just to make sure you heard it. How did COVID affect your business and how did you get through it?
I printed masks like everybody else did, but I had a nest egg, and not only did I have a nest egg, I have different businesses. So within, I have T-Shirt Shop Dallas, I have Lady Print Boss, I have real estate investments. So I've always taken money and put it into other business. So when one thing is slow, I'm gonna go on something else. So that's why I say, as you make money in this business, to invest it and to save it, because we never thought that I shouldn't even be here. I should be retired at 50, but I'm 53. I'm 3 years back in because of COVID. But put your money up, invest in different things, and one thing that I wish that I did that I'm just now starting to do is I always wanted to have my own line of products and clothing and do my own designs, and I never did do that because I got caught up in the money of printing for people. And so when you have something coming in, it's like, I ain't got time to be dealing with my stuff. You got to put that on hold. But if I had a clothing line or something going, that would have been even better. But my investments held me through.
I think in our business, we used the PPP loans. The government was really helpful, and we kept people on, and we did a lot of projects. So everything from replanting trees outside to that we had to cut down to all kinds of other projects of repairing equipment, painting the place, etc.
Yeah.
And then the other thing we did was we pivoted, and my wife Pam, who's there, started increasing our online store business, doing fulfillment and running stores for people, and that business didn't go away. In fact, that was increasing. Both the stores and also doing fulfillment. Companies wanted us to mail shirts to all of their employees, for example, and so we got into doing more of the mail order. As things change, you got to adapt. You can't be crying about it. Crying's not going to get you anywhere.
And I'm going to say one more thing about that. Now, during COVID, it was a time that I lost my father, so I didn't do a lot of maneuvering. But what I did do is I started the e-commerce side of the business. And I think that COVID actually helped people who have online businesses, because people were forced.
Because even grandma had to learn how to buy stuff off
everybody
Amazon,
was forced to learn how to do stuff online. Customers who never wanted to order online had to order online. So that's one good thing that actually came out of COVID that I love, and I still love it today.
Other questions? All right, hang around for a few minutes if everybody wants to talk.
Okay.
All right, I want to how about a hand for Latona Roberson?
Thank you for having me.
And thank our sponsors. Without it, this wouldn't be free. Los Angeles Apparel, Hirsch, Fairweather Johnson, AlphaBroder's big sponsors, Stalls and Reese. I'm from the Ink Kitchen. Thanks to the show Impressions. Thank you for coming. Check out the schedule. We have a lot of good speakers coming up.